There is a season for everything, but no one ever tells you what to do in the seasons where nothing seems to be growing. In a valley known for its stubborn, cracked soil, there lived a man the whole village quietly called the Late One. Not because he was slow, because he had come back to farming at an age when most men in the valley were already harvesting their third or fourth crop. Before this life, he had tried other things: a small shop that closed within a year, a job in the city that ended without warning, without explanation. By the time he returned to his father's land, the other farmers around him already knew their soil the way they knew their own hands. Across the stream, the neighbor farmer had started at 19. By the time the Late One planted his very first row of seeds, the neighbor was already known through 3 villages for the quality of his wheat. "You're starting an entire life behind everyone else," the neighbor told him one morning. Not cruelly, just honestly. "The land doesn't wait for anybody." The Late One only nodded and kept walking his fields, crouching now and then to study the cracks in the earth, the way a person studies a letter written in a language they don't fully understand yet. His son, only 7 that year, would sit on the fence and watch his father out there for hours, doing nothing that looked like real work, while the neighbors' children bragged about their father already being home by noon. His wife found him one night sitting at the edge of the field long after dark, simply looking at the ground. "What are you doing out here?" she asked. "Listening," he said. "The soil tells you things if you stop trying to catch up to everyone else long enough to actually hear it." She didn't understand what he meant. If he was honest, neither did he. Not fully, not yet. That first year, his harvest was thin, barely enough to cover the cost of the seeds. The neighbors' fields, as always, came in golden and full. At the market, the shopkeeper weighed the Late One's sacks and said out loud what the whole valley was already thinking. "Maybe this land simply isn't for men who start over." He didn't argue. He went home, and instead of planting the way everyone else planted, the way he himself had planted the year before, he spent that entire autumn doing something no other farmer in the valley bothered to do. Row by row, he broke apart the hardest, greyest patches of soil by hand and worked in whatever the forest floor offered for free. Old leaves, ash, the slow, quiet rot of fallen branches. The village elder, watching from his doorway one afternoon, finally asked him, "Why not plant the way everyone else does? You could have a harvest by spring." "Because everyone else already has good soil," the Late One said. "Mine, I still have to build." 2 more years passed exactly like this. 2 more thin harvests. 2 more seasons of the shopkeeper's doubtful glances, the neighbor's quiet pity, and his wife's private worry that she never once said out loud. There were nights he stood alone in that field and asked himself the same question the whole valley seemed to be asking without saying it. What if they're right? What if some things really do start too late to ever catch up? And then came the year the rains failed completely. Not a light dry spell, a real drought, the kind the valley hadn't seen in over a decade. The neighbors' fields, which had never needed anything but rain and routine, cracked and browned within a matter of weeks. The same wheat that had made him known through 3 villages came up thin, brittle, burned at the edges. The Late One's field, the one everyone had spent 4 years calling too slow, too far behind, held. Not because of luck, Because 4 years of broken soil, of leaves and ash, worked in by hand, held onto water in a way the neighbor's untouched ground simply never could. That year, while the rest of the valley paid 3 times the usual price for grain, the late one's harvest fed his own family, with enough left over to sell. At the market, the very same shopkeeper who once doubted him asked quietly, almost embarrassed, "How did you know this would happen?" "I didn't," the late one answered. "I was still working on my soil, long after everyone thought I was simply behind." The neighbor came to see the field for himself. He stood at its edge for a long time and said nothing, the way people do when they realize the race they thought they were winning was never really a race at all. Word of the harvest moved through the valley faster than the drought ever had. But the late one didn't feel much like celebrating. What he felt was quieter than pride, closer to relief. The kind you feel when you finally stop needing everyone else's timeline to make sense of your own. Because that's the part no one ever warns you about. Feeling behind doesn't actually mean you are behind. Often, it just means you're the only one quietly preparing for a season no one else can see coming yet. The years that look like nothing to everyone watching, the studying, the quiet effort, the failures that taught you things comfort never could. None of that disappears. It goes into the ground, and it waits. Somewhere in your life right now, there might be a field you've been working on quietly, one that hasn't shown a harvest yet. People around you may already be calling it too late, too slow, not enough. But soil never cares how any of it looks from the outside. It only cares what's actually been put into it. And when the season finally comes, the one you could never have predicted, the one that breaks everyone who only ever had good luck instead of real preparation, you'll understand exactly what the late one understood, standing in his field that year. You were never behind. You were simply the only one paying attention to what would actually last.